This is Adam King from Aliens Don't Ring Doorbells, and you're listening to Madness to Creation.
Go ahead, say it.
Welcome to the Madness to Creation podcast. This is Maddie. How are you? Madness to Creation is where self-care and music merge. And if you are interested in sponsoring this podcast, please email me at madnesstocreation@gmail.com. We will especially take consideration for those that advocate for mental health, CBD use, and anything pertaining to music. We offer very reasonable rates, which includes promo lines in all of our podcasts, which go on 9 different digital streaming platforms. And on this episode, it's a very special podcast, which features Tish from the DEADS. We talk about female empowerment, mental health, their music, and so much more. This is just an absolutely awesome conversation. And I also call them Go Weezer, because to me, when I first heard them, they combine the catchy sounds of the Go-Go's with the absolutely awesome alternative rock sound of the 90s version of Weezer. And they have an album coming up, which will be out later on this year, entitled Tell Your Girls It's Alright. And I really want to encourage you to find them on Spotify, find them on Bandcamp, find them wherever, and download their album. Legally, of course. We do not advocate for illegal downloading. And also check out their music video on YouTube called In For Blood. The DEADS is this amazing all-female trio that combines garage rock, punk, pop, metal, and 90s alternative rock. And they have toured with the likes of Seether, Bush, Chevelle, and Stone Sour. I don't know who Stone Sour is. We're going to go with Stone Sour instead. And Tish and I get into this incredible conversation. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And also find us at madnesstocreation.com and find us on Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube, GeoSavin, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, and iHeartRadio. On that note, here's our awesome conversation with Tish from the DEADS. Take it away, Tish. And first of all, welcome to Madness to Creation podcast. And I have with me Tish from the DEADS. And yep. First of all, I love the band name. And but if I was to name your band, I would name it Go Weezer, because when I first listened to it, it sounded to me just like the early Go-Go's meets Weezer. And yeah, and take that in a high compliment, because first of all, the Go-Go's are freaking awesome, and secondly, it just really shows that you're bringing back that alternative rock vibe that we so love from the 90s and stuff. And
oh yes.
And we also talk about mental health as well. And based upon just what I read in the bio and just kind of the theme, the first thing I thought of was empowerment. So naturally, we're going to talk about your music, but there's also an article I wanted to share with you that talks about like the 9 tips of female empowerment. So just kind of tied into the podcast and stuff. So how much time do you have for it?
I've got my notepad ready. I'm ready to take some notes on what I need to read up on. Let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah. And first of all, just tell me about you, and tell me what the best thing has happened to you in 2021 so far.
Well, I'm a musician. I've been writing songs since I was 5. So I guess I'm a songwriter first and foremost. I kind of I thought I was getting in trouble for doing it when I was 5, when my mom asked me if I was making up a song. I was like, I'm so sorry. No, I wasn't. She's like, no, it's okay. You're allowed to do that. That's really neat. And she got me a little tape deck, and a week later I'd made a full little record for her of songs. So I've always had it in me. And, for one reason or another, that's kind of informed every choice I've made my entire life. So still a creative, and still making it through this crazy pandemic. And I think the best thing that's happened to me this year is, it's still fresh, but I think I've had a lot of exciting things happen outside of the Deads with just some neat songwriting things I've gotten to do for TV. And I'm obsessed with animation, and I'm getting to do some songs for some animated shows. I have a new theme song that's going to be on a Nickelodeon show. So a lot of fun, exciting things have happened in the cartoon world for me this year. So that's really a great way to kick off a otherwise kind of crappy year, right?
Oh, for sure. And I was going to say, so far, it's been kind of a good year so far in comparison to 2020. So, like, I grew up watching, like, the Rugrats. I grew up watching, I don't want to say I grew up watching SpongeBob because I was around high school when it came out. I'm going to be 40 this year, so I'm kind of dating myself.
Welcome to the Club 40s.
Yeah. And what cartoon do you see the Deads being?
Oh my God.
Whether it's a classic Nickelodeon cartoon or a cartoon from today.
I think the Deads, I have to say, were kind of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because everyone kind of has their own vibe of what they bring to the table and their own like unique thing, but their unique personality, but it's always rooted in like making each other laugh and having fun. And I would just replace the pizza probably with burritos, and I think we'd be right on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Burrito power, So what Ninja Turtle would you say you are? I would say I'm like more like Donatello, kind of like
It's an interesting question because I actually changed this last year with the last iteration of Turtles that was on Nickelodeon. I always identified as a Leonardo, and I think I might be a Donatello, honestly. And that might just be age. Like, I'm settling in, I'm claiming my nerdiness and my smarts, and I might have transitioned to Donatello.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of one of those things, like when I was listening to a Weird Al podcast, it was through Hot Ones. Have you ever seen that? Where
I love Hot Ones.
Yeah.
I have the Hot Ones sauces in my fridge right now. Love it.
Yeah, and to get off a quick tangent here, I actually have a good friend that he grows Carolina Reaper peppers out of his garden, and he eats them like candy, like some of his
I guess.
And
you can kind of just get used to it and start doing that. I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, and what Weird Al kind of talked about is kind of like how nerds were kind of stuffed into lockers in the 90s, and all of a sudden, like in the 2000s, we saw like nerds be kind of the cool people because they create all these techie things that we use, like our phones and all that stuff. Like
I saw that interview. It was awesome, and I was like, exactly.
Yeah. So, what would you say if Weird Al ever parodied your song? Would you be honored? Would you be insulted?
We would be so excited. That would be great. Oh my God. Like, why is that not happening right now? Let's do it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your favorite Weird Al song?
I go back and I vacillate with that one because of what my stepkids are into.
Mm-hmm.
So like as soon as they discover one and get excited about it, that becomes my new favorite. But they just now started they're on the white and nerdy tip right now. So I'm kind of more of an old school, like fat and stuff like that. But I think you can't go wrong. Amish Paradise, I don't know. They're all the hits.
Yeah, and considering today's culture, I think he'd be the only one that would still get away with fat and it'd be socially acceptable.
I don't think he could, right? So I think there's a lot of things that we, even the most sensitive of us, the most liberal of us, I think there's things that we grew up with that they didn't faze us. And now we look back on those moments, even like movies that we watched or that we enjoyed, and you look back on them and think like, Jesus, that movie's terrible. Perfect example, Revenge of the Nerds. That was a movie that I loved when I was a kid. It was the first, I think, R-rated movie I was allowed to watch. Had like sex in it and stuff. Turns out the sex is basically a rape. Like the guy wears a mask, pretends to be the girl's boyfriend, and has sex with her. And then her response when she finds out it's a nerd is like, "Are all nerds as good as you?" It's like, girl, you just got raped by a stranger. But we're all, in the 80s, like, yeah, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Like, I would never fly now.
Oh, absolutely. And I haven't seen that movie in years, but I just want to let you know I'm not Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. I'm not Booger, so. I get that all the time. Like, I get random people come up to me saying, I look like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
No, you don't. Are you serious? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, some people think I do. So because I get my hair kind of froed out and stuff, and
well, maybe you tend toward it more than I can see right now. We are on video, so I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, and I was jamming out to music on the way home from work. I'm a special needs teacher by day. And so, yeah, I teach kids that struggle like in the academics and behaviors and stuff. And In For Blood is such a fantastic song because it's kind of grungy. It just brings me back to the 90s for some reason. And I don't want to compare you guys to a 90s band. It's just like we're all influenced by something, whether we admit it or not.
Everybody that's not is not aware. Everyone that thinks they don't have influences is just not aware of what they are, I think.
Yeah, and even myself as a teacher, I borrowed from, teachers that I've looked up to and stuff, and put that in my classroom and stuff. So just take us into that song, and it just has this total empowerment vibe.
Yeah, I think our music on accident sometimes has an empowerment vibe just because we are empowered grown women playing in a genre that's a little not so normal for and not that women aren't normally in rock, because there's more now than ever, and it's incredible and wonderful and should have been that way all along. But we do tend to find ourselves kind of the only girls sometimes in certain tour markets and things like that. But I think for that song, it's, as most of our songs are, really a love song. But yeah, it's just saying like, I don't need to be with you because you're all these things famous things that people care about, your fame, your money. It's just that classic, like, I just love you for you song. But all of our songs, we always try to layer them with like multiple meanings so that people can really take from them what they need to get through their day.
Yeah, absolutely. And what gets you through the day? Like, we cover a lot of mental health, as you may or may not be aware. What gets you through the day? Like, sometimes it might be a little bit harder for you to get out of bed and stuff like that, get ready for the day. What gets you through?
I think I think like most artists probably, I have had diagnosis throughout my life. And so obviously you go through all different phases of life, trying different things, trying to learn what's going to give you the most balance. And I think now that I guess what you would say is middle age, I find just forgiving myself for not feeling good is one of the most empowering things I can do. I think my whole life I was so angry with myself for not behaving like other people did, or had such a bad self-image of myself. And I think the older I've become, and also just techniques I've taught myself to cope, to accept myself, forgiveness is really the biggest thing. So on those days when I'm just a piece of shit, I just let myself be a piece of shit. And by that, I mean, like, if I'm angry, if I have outburst, if I'm just on edge, whatever my case may be, if it's depression, anxiety, outbursts, I just forgive myself, and that's powerful.
Yeah, and forgiveness is such a powerful tool, and that's what I really try to convey to people, like the kids I teach and stuff like that. Like, forgiveness is not so much letting the person do it over and over again. It's releasing yourself from that burden, to lift that off your shoulders and, and stuff like that, So do you kind of look at it that way too, or?
Yeah, I think because I had a late in life diagnosis, I think I always thought something was wrong with me. I had a song that I wrote very young called Autobiography that said, "Hello, I must explain myself, detain the pain and strain myself to answer a few questions, to take a few suggestions from the public and the critics, from the saviors and the cynics of this elemental gallery of flower beds and flattery. It's nothing but a tragedy. And I can't help but see the beauty in the movement of the air around your eyes as you stare. I can't pretend that I don't care. That creepy feeling's always there." And I think
you wrote that?
it goes on and
Dang.
on. But it's
Wow.
just about like, I was a kid, but it was just about trying to cope with, why do I feel different than everyone? And why am I losing friends? Why are things happening to me? I feel empowered and I feel like a cool, nice person, but why are things not coming together for me? And it's just weird when you become an adult and get a late life diagnosis,
Right.
that corrects your old diagnosis of generalized anxiety or whatever. And then you grow up and find out what was really wrong with you. It's interesting, or not wrong with you, but what makes you different.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, the lens that you look back with love on yourself and realize, maybe I hadn't learned myself well enough yet to love myself the way I needed to. And once you do, it's, it changes your whole outlook on things, I think.
Absolutely. And I want you to brag about yourself. What do you love about yourself? Like when you look in the mirror and you're just like, I'm this shit.
Oh my God. That's something with the Deads, that's what I want. That's everything we want. Our new record is called Tell Your Girls It's All Right. And it's just about like sharing the message that it's gonna be okay. You don't have to feel okay to have the knowledge that everything will be okay. Mm-hmm. And I guess things I'm proud, things that I think I am proud of, or that I'm great, is I'm so creative. I'm so full of energy. My output is never ending. I can always produce. I have this saying, I say, put it on the pizza, which just means like, whatever obstacle comes my way, just throw it on the pizza. I'll eat it. Like, it doesn't matter what topping it is. I'll just keep pushing along. I'll just keep striving. I just don't give up, which is not always a good thing. But for me, it's been very powerful to claim that. And I'm proud of my energy, and I'm proud of my stick-to-itiveness on the things I care about, even if I can't stick to the things I don't care about at all.
Yeah, definitely. And you have a lot to be grateful for and to be proud of as well, and I'm sure your fans kind of look to you guys as well, and and look to your music. So like, have you ever had fans like come up to you and be like, say like, hey, that song really resonated with me and I'm going through a difficult time. Thank you for getting me through it. Have you ever had?
Of course. Like, that's the only reason we still do it, is we just, during a pandemic, it's really hard to keep your focus and remember why you're doing it. And then you always go back to, whatever your struggle is, it's really important to go back to your why. Why is this important? Why am I doing this? Why am I worth it? Why is this worth it? And for us, it's always, we come back to the family of fans that we created, or we didn't create them, but they have surrounded us with so much love, and more importantly, surrounded each other with so much support, especially in the arena of mental health, and empowering each other and lifting each other up. And it's just created such a beautiful thing that we want to support that with our music, in what small way our music even matters anymore. Like, we want to keep doing that. So yeah, for sure. All the time. Yeah, that happens.
Definitely. And you kind of brought up the first, the quality of an empowered woman, and that is she lives her purpose. Do you feel like you have found your purpose through the music and your purpose in life and all that?
Oh gosh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I knew my purpose. I think the off-putting or difficult part of my life was helping everyone else to understand that I already knew my purpose. So it was, it's a lifesaver. When you find that thing that's your thing, it's, it gets you out of so many scrapes, so much trouble. It might cause stress in your life, but it also keeps you focused on your, what I call my righteous mission, of just, sharing love with people, and in any way I can, and impacting change any way I can. And the whole band feels the same. The other girls just are such caring people and want to help too, and in so many varieties of ways. And so it's it's definitely a joyful thing to be in the band together. But I think the music, although we're obsessed with it, is secondary to kind of that whole chestnut of just sharing love, showing love, and the different ways that it can manifest, and all of them being okay and cool.
Definitely. And the second one is she knows who she is. And we've all gone through this pandemic. And one thing I learned about myself through the social and civil unrest is that I need to educate myself more.
Yeah.
And that I need to examine my privilege and just look at and just continue to be that ally. Like, people have told me, like when George Floyd happened, like, I need you to speak up for me. And that just kind of, and that put me on a mission,
Yeah.
And so I continue to learn about myself. Like, what have you learned, like, given, whether it's as a musician, whether it's about yourself through this pandemic?
It's hard to boil that down to one thing.
Sure.
It feels like before the pandemic was 10 years ago, and also 5 minutes ago.
I know.
And during the pandemic, there was also so much social unrest and so many things that were just stacking on top of each other for especially for people that have trouble processing those type of events, and then for them to just be stacking. But the question is, what did I learn through it?
Yeah, whether you learn what you learned through it, or what did you learn about yourself that you didn't realize?
Wow, I think just how happy I can be at home without filling every moment of my calendar with a distraction. So I think I learned to be quiet, to be calm, to be still. And I think for many people that probably know me, they wouldn't even think that was possible for me to do. But I think I learned that about myself. But as far as just globally and socially, I think I learned the power of people to incite change. And to, like, I always knew that, but over this time, we've seen that no matter what your distractions are, most people will come together to help other people when the rubber meets the road. And I think we've seen that over the last year in every industry, that normal people come together to help people that need it. And I've just been moved 1,000 times over by those kind of stories.
Yeah. And one thing I'll never forget is when I live in Iowa. When I was up in Minneapolis, being where George Floyd was murdered, you felt this feeling. I'm about to get choked up telling you this. You about feel this feeling when you go to where he was murdered, and it's a spirit and an aura that you never felt before in your life. You cannot make it up, cannot describe it to you. And just, there was people from South America there. There's people from Houston, Texas, a family that drove up. I hugged the Houston, Texas family, told them I love them, and that I'm an ally, and I just learned to be an ally, and like the DEADS, would you guys say your platform is also being an ally? Like, like whether it's the Black Lives Matter organization, or like LGBTQ plus women's organization, stuff like that.
Yeah, we've always been involved kind of across the board. I think the overarching theme of it, I always say, like, it's love, and that manifests in supporting all of those that have been underrepresented. And that's always been who we are. And that's why under our umbrella, people that didn't used to realize some of those things, like we had a lot of very conservative people that were fans of the band because of bands we toured with. And it wasn't until they started hanging out with other fans of ours, they all kind of learned from each other how similar we all really are. And that's, I think that's the kind of globalized message of our band, is that, we're all just here to take care of each other. But yeah, an ally to all. I hope that, I hope that comes through with everything that we put out and put forward. And also more importantly than what you blab about and, you know, what you post, your black square or whatever you're doing, is that you're getting out there and truly trying to affect change in whatever way you're capable of doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And how has the band adjusted, like, coming together, making music through this pandemic? Like, do you guys still come together in a room, or is it like, do you send like the music to each other? How do you do that?
We had to stay apart for a really long time. So we recorded our record in February, right before lockdown. And then we didn't see each other except on the internet for quite some time until some of the restrictions had loosened. We didn't actually rehearse again until the end of 2020, I think. So we went months without seeing each other, which was really hard. I think we love each other and nothing changes once you get back together, but it is kind of a dissociative thing that happens mentally of just, you know, do I have a role? Like, what is my role going to be when this is all over? Is this still a thing? You have those fears and confusion. But you know, we're sisters, honorary sisters. We all have the last name Dead. So, you know, we are honorary sisters. And I think we'll always be family, but it's been hard to be apart from each other. I'm not going to lie. But more than that, I think we really, really miss our dead core and miss hugging them and touching them and just being with them. And it hurts to see them hurt and not be able to be there for them except via a Zoom, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. And it just is, as you said, is so dissociative, however you say that word. And, like, do you guys plan on like a live stream or anything like that? Like,
we did a big concert. We did a big concert live stream over the holidays. We didn't really advertise it very much up front, and I think like 2 weeks before it, and then we had it up for about a week. But it was so great, and we got the deadcore involved best we could. We had a bunch of celebrity guests that came on it via Zoom and participated in some comedy sketches, which was really cute. And Matt Pinfield hosted it, which was fun. He actually came to us and interviewed us. So it was a big event, and I'm hoping that we can just package that and re-release it for those that missed it, because I think a lot of people did end up not knowing about it until it was too late. But as far as doing that again, I think that was our thing, and we'll share it maybe soon. But we're trying to stay strong and just wait until it really is appropriate. The last thing we would want to do is encourage anyone to be somewhere they probably shouldn't be, or engage in anything that wouldn't be safe. So we just have kind of figured out how to make it work and just wait. That's our take on it. I'm hoping that this fall we'll be able to reemerge. That'll be almost like 2 years.
What are concerts going to be like when this is over?
I think this is a paradigm shift. I don't think everything's going to go back to how it was ever. I think we'll see a lot of changes because I think a lot of people just learned about germs. If you want to just go to a base level, a lot of people just learned about germs like in a way they didn't think about before. Touching a doorknob, you know, like touching something in a grocery store and putting it back, touching something in a museum. Like you think about those hands-on exhibits in museums and things. I think people just are going to process germs differently now. And so we may see a different way that, you know, people may not want to pack face to face right up against the stage anymore. It'll be interesting to find out. I know their hearts want to. I desperately want to. One of my favorite things is to be smushed and sweaty at a rock show, or definitely at a hip hop show, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing. So I hope that we can all, you know, find a true new normal. But I wouldn't say like everything will be back to normal. I just really don't believe that. I think we've changed. Like we've been scarred. There will be PTSD. There will be people that are never feeling safe again, and we have to honor them and try to figure out ways to help them still experience some semblance of a normal reality.
That's a good point. I never looked at it that way, because this isn't just like, oh, it's over now, turn on the light switch, and like, I know I have changed, like
500,000 people died. It's not something we can be like, cool, that was like wicked weird, but like back to reality. It's like, no. The United States, like, death age went down a year, like the average death age, because of this. Like, it's a thing, so you can't just be like, especially for people that do have more anxietal issues, things like that, it's gonna leave a mark, so that's fine, that's okay. We should look at life a little differently now, treasure life more and the fragility of it, maybe embrace our, we might have had a social anxiety before, but now we're just like, maybe I can want to see someone.
Right. Exactly. Like, even when I go to my,
come out of it too.
What was that?
Oh, I just said positives can come out of it too. The experience of just, so many positives have come out of it for people. I think of just learning how to be with their families, or or just getting treasured time with their kids that they wouldn't have normally had. So people will be changed, I think.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And so is it like, I'm not very good when it comes to like vinyl album or whatever. So is it a double single? Did I say that right? Like that you're releasing on coming up?
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay.
I just need a little bit clarification from the bio. I read that, it was just like, what? So
it's pretty wild what we're doing. So
okay.
This album, we really wanted to do a classic, almost like 70s thing, where it's like, this is something we want you to listen to from the beginning to the end, because in the culture of music now, it's so much just like, this song is my song. And it used to be, before you could get music on the internet, you had money, you took it, you bought an album that you thought you'd probably like, and then you take it home, and if you don't really like it at first, you already spent the money on it, so it's like, you kind of listen to it a bunch and see if you're gonna end up liking it, and that's just not something that happens anymore. You listen to like 15 seconds or 20 seconds of a song, and if you don't like the song, it's just next song on the album. And or even discovering a new band, give them 30 seconds. I don't know, that's not for me. So we wanted to make something that challenges people to really listen to this old-fashioned style, even though it's going to be free and you can stream it on Spotify. Just try to listen to it old-fashioned way, because we wanted to just give people that journey again. So it kind of bookends with these two songs that are giving the message of like, everything's going to be okay. And then the middle song is an acoustic song that's it's called Dead Inside, and it's a really just journey of like, the hook says, I've never felt so alive now that I'm dead inside. It's a really emotional song. So you're going through this whole journey on the song. There's guests, there's like weird little Easter eggs all around, and you want to hunt those down and enjoy it. So all that being said, we wanted to put it out old-fashioned style. So it's coming out on the heaviest weight, like audiophile, people that love vinyl records. Like, it's going to be the just dopest sounding vinyl you can do. It's really heavy. It's colored, which is like, it's pink or whatever color it's going to, actually, I don't know that's going to be pink. I just might've made that up, but It's going to be colorful. And so the regular album is X amount of songs, and so that'll be on side 1, 2, and 3 of 2 vinyl records. And then the 4th side will either have nothing on it, or if you pre-order the first 200 records only, it'll have 4 more songs. So there'll be 200 albums that actually have 4 extra songs, and those songs are pretty topical. They're more like more political or in nature, or they're just kind of outside of the realm of the message of the record a little. So
and where can people pick this up?
So the pre-orders for the record have already started, and if you go to any of our socials, I always tend to push people to Instagram just because there's less propaganda and just more like, there's a picture, there's a link. It's like easy and not scary. So on our Instagram, there's just a link tree that has everything you're going to want to find out about us, whether it's where to shop for and pre-order that, or see all our videos, anything you want to know is probably on there on that link tree on Instagram. But we're on all the socials, and if you just do a little hunting, you'll be able to find that record, I'm sure. It's called Tell Your Girls It's All Right. So that is, if you Google that and like pre-sale, you'll find it.
That all sounds good, and I have a couple more questions for you. And one of the projects I want to talk about that I'm hoping to release next year, I'm releasing a book, and profits are going to go to National Suicide Prevention, and it's going to be a memorandum to a student of mine that took his own life last fall, and it's going to be called Lighthouses in the Twilight. How those that we get us through. It's something like that. And so basically what I'm going to do is have a couple questions that I'll have for the artists. And if you want to be a part of the book, I can ask you a couple of these questions.
Sure.
And it'll be basically just like what I'll do is like a little bio. And I have friends that are mental health experts. It's basically going to be like a chicken soup for the music lover's soul, basically, but it's going to have like a hard rock twist to it and stuff.
Okay.
And just one of the questions I had is, what is the soundtrack to your life? Like, whether it's a band, song, or album, what has gotten you through?
That's cyclical, though, don't you think?
It could be. Or it could be like a genre of music.
Are you looking for a specific genre or a specific artist, or more philosophical? What are you looking for with that question?
It could be philosophical, however you want to answer it. So some people have said, like the last guy I interviewed the LA Navy, and he said Motley Crue, because he likes to party apparently. So,
Well, I guess through my life, what's gotten me through is finding maybe like a kindred spirit during a bad time. So it might be that for one part of my life, maybe Ani DeFranco was my kindred spirit, and I would listen to her stories and songs and find affirmation that I was going to be okay. Or for another part of my life, it might have been, Blue Oyster Cult, or it might have been whatever it was, it might have been a lot. I actually have a playlist that I listen to a lot called Meta's, I think it's called PMS something, but it's basically just bands like Converge, Glassjaw, like just screaming heavy, like Dillinger Escape Plan. Like I really love to listen to Cattle Decap. So I have a playlist that's all that like very just like hard sounding stuff. And so there's days or periods of time where that's going to be the soundtrack. So I think just finding whatever your soul mate of music is for the right time, the right thing, just finding that match that lifts you up. Because for me, it's not always going to be the same thing. It might be James Taylor's greatest hits, or it might be, Mastodon, or you just don't know what it could be. So yeah, if you go on the Dead's Spotify, I have a lot of playlists on there that kind of spell out different emotional things I'm going through.
That's so cool. That is awesome.
I always recommend playlists for people. If you just the act of making a playlist, it's so cool that we have a vehicle nowadays where you can just get on there and make you don't have to buy all these CDs to like make a mixtape. You just like have the whole world of music at your fingertips, and you can make a playlist to help suit your mood. And sometimes just the act of sitting there for an hour or two and listening to songs and trying to find songs that speak to you and put them in a list is therapy in and of itself. So playlisting is also a really great way to process hard times.
I would definitely agree with that. And just kind of one more question I had in pertaining to the book. And I don't expect you to be a mental health expert or anything like that, but what are some things that you do I know you talked a lot about writing. What are some things that you do? Like some people work out, some people meditate, stuff like that to help you get through.
Yeah. Um, I just want to think about that for a second because I want to make sure. I think a lot of times when you get those lists, it becomes more overwhelming than helpful because it's like, oh, there's all this stuff I need to do to feel better. And
Right.
then you don't do that stuff. And then you feel even like I didn't exercise. If I would just exercise, I wouldn't be sad. Or if I would just eat better, it would help my chemical imbalances and I would feel better. And then you just start feeling worse and eat your feelings or whatever, drink too much or whatever. So I think I would want to stay away from that kind of list just for this purpose. I mean, I do think there's obviously plenty of scientific evidence of all the things you can do to feel better and get through stressful times, but for me I would just say for my contribution, I would kind of, I guess, go the opposite, more eclectic route and say, um, there are things that you don't have to do
And
if
I
you
would agree
don't
with that.
if
Hmm.
you don't want to.
Hmm.
You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. And if you don't feel good, you don't have to make yourself do things to feel better.
Hmm.
So if what you need on a certain day is to stay in bed that day, that's okay. You can do that, and you don't need to beat yourself up about it. So I guess
Definitely.
my to-do list would be kind to yourself, go easy on yourself, treat yourself like
Definitely.
like maybe it's maybe it's my mother and me, just like path of least resistance, but there's something to that also. We all know the things we're supposed to be doing, but some days all you can do is wake up and not end it. So if that's all you
Right.
can do, that's okay. Like, you
Right.
don't have to do a bunch of crap and get overwhelmed with your healing. And so I guess that would be my 2 cents on that is, but for me, for me, my things that I do are generally, if you can't get outside of yourself, help someone else. Find someone that needs a friend and talk to them about their problems, because if you're sad, chances are you've got some good advice for someone else that's sad. Or if you're, whatever your trouble that you're having is, maybe you reach out and see if you can help someone else, because that will validate why you're here on this
Mhm.
planet. You're here to help people and to love people, and so just give love and you may feel better.
Yeah, and as you said, sometimes not doing anything is the best thing to do sometimes, and it studies have shown it actually kind of helps center ourselves again, and just kind of resets, like refresh and stuff. I think
Yeah.
we get caught in the trap of uh, that we have to be on the go all the time. If this, you need to do this, this, and this to make yourself feel better. And
Hmm.
I agree with you 100%. I'm actually really glad that you said that. So
I
yeah,
get caught in the trap a lot of times of feeling like garbage, that I'm not working harder to not feel like garbage. And I think that's a sick, ridiculous cycle that a lot of us fall into. And I'm
right.
40 years old now, so I have the grace of a lot of time. So I've had a lot of time to sort through this stuff and get to where I have answers to questions that I didn't when I was 17 or 22 or 31, or it's just, time is a healer, and if you can just get through, you find that healing just doing nothing, just exist, don't end it. Everything will, like going back to what I said before about our record, it's like we just want to say, like, you don't have to feel okay, you just have to know that in time it's gonna be okay. That's kind of the vibe of the new record.
Definitely. And part of it is, like, I think the media just kind of beats us down with, you know, constantly being busy, and everything on the go, stuff like that. You know, constantly keep our brains busy, and sometimes it's just good to shut your brain down, I think.
Mhm.
So
I'm an intensive busybody, an intensive into it person. So it's a, yeah, it's a good lesson for me, especially to just,
definitely. And I feel like we have covered so much ground.
great.
And yeah, and what else would you like to add in regards to the Deads that we did not cover? Anything that you want to plug or anything
Oh
like
my
that?
gosh. I mean, no, I think I'm just happy to be here, and I think that we're just here to help everyone. I can't even, I don't have anything to plug. Yes, we have a record coming out. I think you should get it if you want to, because it's all about love, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you like hard rock or anything. Really, like you said, like it's like Weezer, like we love so many genres. They're all in there. You won't hate it. We've never met anyone that absolutely hates what we do, which I think is a good thing. It's like something in there for everybody. From singer-songwriter to death metal, I growl and I go la la la. It's all there, because that's what's inside of us. Is so many people, so many things, and so we have something that will speak to you. But yeah, all I want to say is I'm really glad I was here, and I think I really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope that we had some breakthroughs with some people.
Yeah, and that's the important thing at the end of the day is that we have some breakthroughs with some people, because that's what we cover in Madness Creation. We're about self-care, we're about self-worth, self-value, and through music, So Tish, this was so much fun. I would love to catch up some other time, and thank you for all you do and everything like that for the world. And
thank you for all you do for the world, and your day job especially. Thank you.
Well, shucks. Yeah, I really appreciate that. So yeah. It can be a discouraging job, but
Yeah. I have some family members with some of those issues. So I know that I know that kind of intimately what you're dealing with. And it can be discouraging, but when you see the sparkle, when you see like the light bulb, sometimes that's what you're there for, is to just keep moving that dial, even if it's just a little at a time, right? Just keep moving that dial to the positive, right?
Absolutely, Tish.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Yeah. Till next time. Cheers.
Yeah, till next time. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.